mode. Good morning and welcome to our summer 2018 update on the Beauty Professional Standard webinar. I'd like to introduce myself. My name's Sarah Fioda and I am the Hair and Beauty Technical Advisor here at City and Guilds. So before we begin, I'd like to explain a few things about the webinar platform to allow you to get most out of your experience today. So all participants will be in listen-only mode. If you have any questions, please make a note of them or type them into the question bar in the top right-hand corner of your screen. I will try to answer your questions as we have natural pauses in the presentation. If I do get to answer your question, if I don't get to answer all your questions, just please make a note and I will try to get them at the end of the webinar. This webinar is being recorded, so if you do have any questions, you can email them to the moderation support team at cityandguilds.com and we will endeavour to answer all questions in a frequently asked question document. Can I just check that everybody can see this presentation? If somebody just wants to write in the bar for me to say yes you can, that'd be brilliant. Thank you. Well, let's move on now. So let's have a look at our agenda today. So we're going to be looking at the changes to the apprenticeship world, the landscape, so the old and the new. I'll be giving you an update on the Level 2 Beauty Professional Standard and the routes that have come out of that. We'll be looking at the professionalisms and values, safe working practices and core behaviours which are embedded throughout the standards. So we know there are 3 routes. What do they look like? We'll be looking at that. We'll be looking at the on-programme. We don't really know an awful lot about the EPA, but we have gone through EPA before, so we do know about how an endpoint assessment will look like. I will give you an update on the Level 3 Advanced Standard, and we'll be looking at our support resources that we have to help you throughout this journey. So what do we know? Changes to the apprenticeship. So I'm just going to explain a little bit of the difference here between the current safety framework and the new standard. So today, an apprentice on the current safety framework will complete an initial assessment. They'll be on the programme, so they'll do the mandatory qualifications. That is an MVQ Level 2 Beauty Therapy or MVQ Level 3 Beauty Therapy. They'll do that qualification. The full framework will be, they'll do their English and maths, their personal learning and thinking skills, and their ERR, their employer rights and responsibilities. They'll have this ongoing unitised assessment, which is what we do. Once they've completed their qualification, they've got their maths, they've done their personal learning thinking skills, ERR, they're completed, we certificate them, and they are classed as occupationally competent. The thing is with this, if we can't get our apprentice through the maths and English, that isn't a problem. We just take a hit on funding. They still get the qualification, their MVQ in hair or beauty. So basically, we just take 20% hit on the funding. That'll be held back if the full framework isn't achieved. But the apprentice will walk out with a qualification. Now, the new landscape is very different. So let's have a look at the difference with the new landscape. So an initial assessment, as before, making sure the apprentice is right, you know, for the actual position that they're going for. They're going to be doing on-the-job training and off-the-job training. So the qualifications, our qualification is mandatory. Some standards do not have a mandatory qualification attached to them, but we're very lucky because we do. So they'll do their on-programme, they'll do all the teaching and learning, all the formative assessments, and then they'll do their Level 1, so a Level 2 beauty professional will be taking his or her Level 1 in English and Maths. and they will also be assessed on formative assessment of behaviours. Now that looks pretty simple to what's on programme with our LSETI framework. I'll explain the difference. We have a gateway there. Number 3 says gateway, whereas number 3 on the old framework says completion and certification. We have this gateway we have to get our learners through. So if we look at number 2, the core content of what we've got to do, we have to get our learners ready, completely ready for that summative assessment once they go through the gateway, that endpoint assessment. Now, if we can't get our learners, we have to get our learners through English and Maths at level 1. So they have to have completed English and Maths at level 1 before they go through the gateway. Also, they have to have had an attempt. They have to have been registered and had an attempt to pass level 2 Maths and English. So before you can put them through that gateway, they have to have completed the on-programme qualification, done the mock assessments, the Maths and English at level 1, attempted Maths and English at level 2. Then is the gateway. So providers will deliver an on-programme training for the apprentice, working with the employer to make sure the apprentice has gained the qualification, training and achievements required to attempt this endpoint assessment. So, endpoint assessment. The move to an independent EPA at the end of the apprenticeship programme is probably the most significant reform in changes of delivering the apprenticeship. The assessment will be graded by an IEPA, that's your independent assessor. The assessor must be independent or separate from the training provider, employer or apprentice. Once they have completed that endpoint assessment, they will complete and be certificated. I'm going to explain this in a bit more layman's terms. So if we think they've done the qualification, so they've got the programme, they've done their on-programme training, they've done the Maths and English at level 1, attempted Maths and English at level 2, formative behaviours are assessed throughout, they've done the mock assessments, they're going to sit with the training provider or the centre, their employer, their apprentice. The that triangle is going to have a conversation to make sure that that apprentice and everybody feels that apprentice is ready to go through the gateway. That every little box has been ticked, allowing the apprentice to go through that gateway. So they're going through the gateway. They will be, Sitting Guilds will send in an endpoint assessor who is not known to that apprentice. The endpoint assessor will do the observation and grade that learner, pass, distinction or fail. So we have 6 steps for the new standard, whereas we had 4 steps for the old SACE framework. Moving on. So what does it look like? The professional standard update. So the Beauty Professional standard was originally approved in June 2017. It's since been reviewed and was resubmitted this year in February. The standard isn't ready for use at the moment. However, it has been approved with conditions. So we know the standard has been approved, but only with conditions. So why is the Beauty Professional Standard Apprentice not ready for delivery yet? The apprenticeship standard is only available for delivery when both the standard and the assessment plan is approved and the funding band has been assigned to the standard. So an apprenticeship standard is only available for delivery when both the standard and the assessment plan have been approved. So this is now being reviewed and updated by a steering group and the IFA, and hopefully we'll have some more information on that for you within the next couple of weeks. As soon as we get any information on the updates, we'll send them out in an alert. So as I said earlier in the agenda, we're going to be looking at the core skills and knowledge that will sit across all standards, and we'll look at professionalisms and values, safe working practice and core behaviours. So what are the requirements? So all beauty professionals will complete mandatory core skills, knowledge and behaviours, and one of the 3 mandatory core skills, knowledge and behaviours for the beauty professional. Now, if you look at the professionalism, values, safe working practice and core behaviours, these are integrated into the services. So if we go further into the core skills and knowledge, professionalism and values, what do we mean by that? So we're asking, saying it's basically professionalism, demonstrating a passion for our industry, being creative, meeting organisational and industry standards in appearance, being able to work under pressure, observe time management, self-managing, be a self-starter, completing services in a commercially viable time to a high standard, demonstrate equality and diversity, use a range of products and services related to the beauty industry. Then we're looking at maintaining, client care, customer confidentiality and rights. And we're asking them to look for buying signals with body language from clients, assisting senior members, younger members, all staff included, working as a team, looking at our industry guidelines and codes of practice and ethics, looking at our quality assurance, never forgetting data protection when they're working with clients, safe working practices, making sure that they maintain hygienic working methods, looking at clients' modesty, privacy, comfort. This is what we do at the moment. This is what a therapist does today. Checking PPE, legal requirements. Core behaviours. What are core behaviours? Well, professional and personal ethics. They're demonstrated to committing that quality throughout their industry. Willingness to learn is what we're looking for. Curious minds, flexible and positive attitude. A can-do attitude to work. Looking at prioritising themselves, maintain customer care. Making sure that they're sensitive to their clients and demonstrate this empathy and supportiveness to clients. Working as a team, making sure that they build good working relationships, showing integrity. So professionals' values, safe working practice, core behaviours are key. And this is what we do today. This is what we do. This is what makes a therapist. This is to me a brand. Before a client goes into a salon, they like what the salon looks like or the spa looks like, but they ultimately buy into the brand. And the brand is the therapist. And all these professionalism values, core behaviours, working safely is all encompassing within what makes a professional therapist. I hope you all agree. So let's move on now to our routes. So we've got 3 routes here. So there are distinctively 3 different occupational pathways within the professional role. Each requires a different highly skilled individual practitioner to deliver the specific requirements of each area of specialism and workplace environment. So they are a beauty therapist, a nail technician and a beauty and makeup consultant. All 3 options require the beauty professional to be able to carry out detailed and confidential consultation with clients, choosing the appropriate services and products for the clients. Across all, they must, as I spoke about, they must act with professionalism without supervision, observe safe working practice associated with the role to a high level of precision. So let's look at the 3 occupational roles and profiles of a beauty therapist, a nail technician, and a makeup consultant. So typically, a beauty therapist will work in a beauty salon, spa, cruise ship, health farm, high street. They'll provide one-to-one treatments on clients in a private environment, providing facials, waxing, hand and body treatments, manicures, pedicures, eye treatments. The usual run-of-the-mill beauty therapist, what we do today, our bread and butter, shop floor stuff. It's what makes a therapist. The nail technician will work typically in nail bars or salons. They may work in spas, hair salons or retail environments. As we know, Some department stores have nail bars. They'll be providing manicures, pedicures, nail enhancements, nail treatment, nail art, gel polishes, extensions, acrylic extension gel, fiberglass and silk wrap systems. That's what we'll be looking at. And a beauty and makeup consultant. Well, they typically work in a department store or some form of retail environment, but they also may work in a makeup studio, salon or spa, or even out on location, depending on how far they take their makeup. They will also they will have to advise and promote and demonstrate these things, and also recommend a range of beauty products to clients and customers. So we're going to dig down a little deeper into these into the Beauty Professional Standard on programme requirement for a beauty therapist. Now, this is approved with conditions, so there's no assessment plan attached to this yet. So again, as I put here, a beauty professional is able to know and understand professionalism values, safe working practice, core behaviours. As I said, they are integrated into the services, and they will display skills that demonstrate the waxing treatments, nail treatments, foot treatments. Now, hand and nail treatments and foot treatments really need manicure and pedicure, but we can't call it manicure and pedicure. The steering group, the IFA and steering group said it has to be called hand and nail treatments and foot treatments, but we do know this is manicure and pedicure, no different. We've got your facial, skin analysis, eyelash and eyebrow treatments, makeup application, and the big thing that's been added into this standard is body massage. So this is your level 3 body massage in a level 2 beauty therapy standard. We'll look at the beauty and makeup consultancy, like I said, safe working practices, all the core values and behaviours. They'll be displaying knowledge and to be able to demonstrate around products, the lash and brow products, facial products, nail products, and also perfumery recommendations is in this actual standard. So with the beauty consultancy, the beauty consultant should obviously meet the retail imaging etiquette to be able to be a brand ambassador for whichever brand they are going to be working for. So they will need to be able to choose the appropriate products, tools and equipment to promote and sell, and probably able to traffic stop people on the shop floor to get them over to demonstrate their skills and retail skills for the beauty products. And if we look at the nail technician, we'll have a closer look at this. Well, they will be working obviously in nail bars, as I said earlier, and they will be, making sure that they choose the correct systems for the client's nails, whether it be gel, acrylic, fiberglass, silk wraps. They should be able to recommend a range of products for their client and the treatments. So they will be actually that's not there. Excuse me. It should have their manicure service, pedicure service, advice to customers and clients on nail products and services, gel polish service for nails, basic nail art, and nail enhancement services. I do apologise, that are not copied over correctly. So a nail technician will be able to complete services to a high standard, maintaining customer confidentiality and rights, and portrays a professional image. I think we all know they all portray a professional image that meets the service and legal industry and organisational requirements and codes of conduct. As I said, I'm too sorry about that. I will change that. So what's pending here? So what's pending with the Beauty Professional Apprenticeship Standard assessment plans? So that's a pending decision. The assessment plans are being developed alongside the continued approved standard. Now this was submitted in February. So if we went back to slide 4, an apprenticeship standard is only available for delivery when the standard and the assessment plan is approved for funding. Well, At the moment, the funding bands are pending, and we're waiting for the IFA to confirm the allocated funding band for all 3 standards. The steering group and IFA are actively communicating and supporting each other, as the aim is to bring to the table a robust standard, you know, at level 2 and level 3. But they do need to get the assessment plan. It's still out for, it's not out for consultation. They're just getting that right at the moment. But we do have to wait for the IFA to confirm the actual funding band for the level 2 standard. So, what does it look like? The Beauty Professional Apprenticeship Standard on Programme. Mandatory end tests. Is it going to? Will every unit have mandatory end tests, or is it just one knowledge test? Well, we do know there's an end knowledge test. In hairdressing, the hairdressing standard got through on a practical observation, which is the endpoint assessment, and oral questions. Moving forward, the standards that will change. It will be an end knowledge test and the endpoint assessment. Today, at this moment in time, I can't say whether there are going to be mandatory tests at the end of each unit. I can tell you that there will be IQA activity associated with the standard, just as it is today. You will have, obviously, your EQA, there is EQA activity. The EQA will be coming in because nobody will have direct claim status. It will be robust. We'll be expecting you to use your camera method of on the assessment strategy, making sure that candidates, assessment methods, assessors are all samples, so all units, full sample, to get this right. We will have logbooks, learning assistant, and we have our wonderful SmartScreen support for you. We don't really know an awful lot at this time. I'm just trying to give you an update on literally what we do know. So I hope that helps. As you can see, I've put CPD there with those question marks. So let's have a look at our CPD. So the steering group and FS are saying there is a minimum of 50 hours CPD that's required per year. So the CPD will run from September the 1st to the 31st of August, as it does in most FE establishments. You'll have 30 hours applied, which is practical hands-on work in a commercial environment. You'll demonstrate this through a personal diary, a reflective diary. It is your own responsibility for CPD, so it's the individual's responsibility for CPD, not the centres they work for. So you'll do your 30 hours practical hands-on, and you'll also have 20 hours, another 20 hours, and that could be a range of other activities such as standardisation meetings, updating knowledge and skills through the internet, television or any media, updating through visits, placements to comments, shadowing, attending briefings by the awarding body or colleagues. This webinar, you would put that down as CPD. So that would be one of your, part of your 20 hours. So if you're going to assess IQA or EQA on the new standard, you will have to show 50 hours professional CPD per annum. So we'll go through the assessment. We've got no assessment plans, but we'll go through what we know. So we have our stage 1, which is our, we have 3 stages to the beauty professional. So we have the on-programme and the endpoint. The next slide provides the details of the endpoint assessment for the apprenticeship standard at level 2. So successful completion of the EPA will lead to the achievement of the full standard. So if you think about this, the independent endpoint assessor, that is an IEPA, is appointed by a registered apprenticeship assessment organisation. That is us, City and Guilds. So we will send out that independent endpoint assessor to assess your apprentices. So it is a really good idea to make sure your apprentices have had lots and lots of mock assessments before they get to that stage with lots of different assessors. Because as we all know, our apprentices, stroke learners, they get very friendly, not friendly, they're very used, they're very comfortable with us. So we need to take them out of their comfort zone a little bit, and our mocks should be incorporating other assessors to give them the best possible chance. So we also know that the assessment will be a knowledge test and an observation, like I said before, and the IEPA, who comes out to the centre, will determine the overall grade of and the decision will be either fail, pass, distinction for the apprentice. So let's have a look at here. On programme training, an assessment is carried out by achieving the Level 2 Diploma Beauty Professionals. We're going to look at the the Beauty and Makeup Consultant qualification in a little bit more depth. Apprentices must have achieved the Level 2 Diploma, of Beauty Professional in Beauty and Makeup Consultant qualification, and achieve the required Level 1 qualification or equivalent in English and Maths before being placed forward for that endpoint assessment. So as I said earlier, this is that triangle. It's the apprentice, training provider and the employer. So this will be when the employer, in consultation with the training provider or the centre, considers with the apprentice if they are competent and consistently demonstrate the knowledge, skills and behaviours set out by the standard before we put them through. Now the apprentice will be on the apprenticeship programme for a minimum of 12 months and a day before taking that endpoint assessment. So let's have a look at stage 2, the gateway stage. So remember, we're looking at this full on-programme qualification, English and Maths. They've got to have completed Level 1, English and Maths. We've got to have given them, registered them at Level 2 and given them an opportunity, a fair chance to have sat Level 2. They do not have to have passed Level 2 Maths, but we have had to have given a very good opportunity to have sat that, qualification. We then have our knowledge test. Now the knowledge test that's associated with the standard must be completed before the observation. So before the learner, or the apprentice, sorry, can go through to the gateway, the knowledge test must be completed. So that is the knowledge test is completed prior to the date of the observation of the EPA. So if we look at stage 3, this is our EPA. So we've got in there, for me, the EPA stage is then ready to shine like a star. It's a trade test for me. We're not sure what's actually going to be in that test because we've not got that plan yet, but it's that trade test. It's when they go for that job, they're job ready, they've applied for a job, they go in, they set up, and they may have to do a back massage, a mini facial, a file and polish, your one hand French, one hand red. It's that all-encompassing trade test. The overall grade, like I said, the overall grade will be based on the grades achieved in the 2 endpoint assessment methods, being the knowledge test and the observation, the EPA. To achieve a pass, an apprentice must achieve a pass in both the observation and the knowledge test. If either end assessments are not achieved, the apprentice would not achieve the apprenticeship overall. To achieve a distinction, an apprentice must achieve distinction in both the observation, that's a trade test, and the knowledge test. If a pass is achieved in one assessment and a distinction is achieved in the other, the apprentice would only achieve an overall pass. So think about this, they have to get a distinction in the end knowledge test and in their practical observation to come out with an overall distinction. If they get a pass in their knowledge test, they're not going to be able to, they'll only get a pass in their EPA, in their observation. So it's better not to say anything to the learner about that. That's all the apprentice about that. We will just discuss that later on. I hope that helps you. Has anybody got any questions? I've not got any up on my screen. Okay. Well, let's move on then to the knowledge test, as I said. Must be successfully completed before the observation. Like I said earlier, it's very different to hairdressing where they've got their observation and they've got oral questions. Moving forward, any new standard bill will have a knowledge test and an observation. So the knowledge test, if we have a look at this knowledge test, each knowledge test will be assessed by a multiple choice question paper and will be made available on demand. This means that there are no set dates for the test. The employer or trainer can pre-book the test for a day and time that suits the apprentice. The knowledge test will be 60 minutes, made up of 40 questions that will cover knowledge and understanding of the standard. Now, this is what I'm telling you now. This could change. Nothing's set in stone yet. We have got the standard approved, but this is what we're waiting for. This is what we know so far. Retakes and resits, the knowledge test must be successfully completed and a minimum pass grade achieved before the observation. This can take place on a day prior to the observation. The apprentice who passes the EPA cannot resit the EPA to achieve a higher grade. So if they've passed it, they've passed it. That's it, it's a done deal. If the apprentice fails the knowledge test or observation or part of the EPA, they will not be able to retake the EPA until they have completed a further period of training and learning. And the employer and the training provider stroke centre is confident that the apprentice is competent and consistently demonstrate those core skills and knowledge set out by the beauty and makeup consultancy or the beauty therapy standard or the nail standard. There will be no restriction put on the grade the apprentice can achieve when completing a retake. The period of further learning required if someone fails a knowledge test or observation will need to be funded within the allocated funding band. That is what we know. The employer will not receive additional funding to cover this. If an apprentice fails the EPA for reasons out of their control, temporary illness or accident, domestic crisis arising from at that time, a reset can be taken at the earliest opportunity. So if we look at this knowledge test a bit more, it'll be on screen and computer marked. All apprentices will complete their test on screen unless an individual assessment needs are dictated. So unless we need to find a suitable alternative method, a paper-based controlled environment will be available. Paper-based, if an apprentice does a paper-based only exam, sufficient time must be allowed for the marking and notification of results, and we'll be asking for around 4 weeks. The knowledge test will be externally set and marked by the IAO. Questions will be written using a language, tone and style expected of the level of the standard. The knowledge test will be invigilated in line with the requirements set out by the IAO, and we will identify a suitable person you will identify a suitable person to invigilate the on-demand test. As I said, the 40-question knowledge test will be a proportional sample produced from a bank of questions, which will cover all the knowledge listed. The bank of questions will be reviewed annually. The results of the online test will be immediately available. But I think it's going back to the drawing board a little bit until the assessment plans are available. As I've said, they are still a work in progress. So what we know is what we know. So far, this is it for the assessment plan. So that is your level 2 standard. So what do we know about level 3? So the level 3 is an advanced beauty professional standard. So we're going to have a look at the proposal for this standard. So what this means is that the proposal has been approved, but the standard content is still out for consultation. So the proposal has been approved. So yes, there is room to have a level 3 standard, but the content is still out for consultation. If you go onto the IFA website, the apprenticeship, it does state the apprenticeship standard is in development and not ready for use. So I've just put that in for you. As you can see, it's in development. The proposal has been approved. The standard hasn't been approved yet. We do know it will be. There's no assessment plan approved yet, and there's no funding band. So this is where we're at with the level 3 advanced beauty professional. So the steering group and the IFA are discussing this proposal at the moment. So we do know we will have our beauty route, and there is a proposal for holistic route. But at the moment, an additional bespoke group are going to be put together to look at the holistic route in more detail. So we'll have a look at what's been done so far, what we've done so far as a awarding body. Well, what did we do? We listened to our sensitive employers training providers and our industry board of professionals. You know, what do people want in this qualification? So what we've done, we don't go along with everything. We're there. We haven't got such a big say. We do listen, but we do sort of have a voice, and we do challenge where we can. We do have a clear message. And as I said earlier, the steering group IFA are in full communication, and it's in all our interests to get standards right. So, as I just touched on the holistic therapy, here we go. So we're looking at, there are 2 standards currently being looked at. So this went out to consultation. Now we hope you had a voice and you had your say. The Beauty Steering Group met in mid-May to review the feedback and plan for further developments. So we're still waiting for confirmation at this present time. The IFA panel has a meeting around the 18th of June, so we're hoping to hear something the following week. So we do have as we say, there is a slot built ready for development for the advanced beauty professional. The holistic therapy professional will be discussed further with a bespoke group. So if we have a look at what we fed back, as I said, you know, we do challenge. We don't always listen to, but we try and have our say. But we do challenge. So what we saw is through the standard that came through, transparency is important to all at Sitting Guilds. We can confirm that we have met and conserved with a number of technical experts around the proposed standards, and we've observed the following. So this is what we found. Terminology is not really, some of it's not appropriate. Like, what does dynamic risk assessment mean? You know, what does it mean? Duration and timescales may not be realistic. 15, 12 months. For me, at level 2, you'd be looking at not 12 months, 15 months, 18 months, because we've got body massage in there. So we need, maybe a longer duration for that apprenticeship. Gaps in range. The range doesn't necessarily cover all the knowledge and skills required. So we've got things missing in there like pathologies. You may agree or not agree. These are just Sitting Guilds observations. As I've said, we want everything to be transparent. We need everything out on the table, but we need to make sure that you have a really good understanding. So do give us your feedback on that. So we've got the advanced beauty professional. As I said, Sitting Guilds' recommendation would be to review both standards. I think combining a beauty at level 3 and a holistic together would result in an excellent qualification. It would make a strong rounded therapist. You may not agree, But I think if we incorporated the holistic side into the beauty, I think that would have one standard. It would make a wonderful qualification. They're just my thoughts. I don't know what you think. So if we have a look at the advanced in a little bit more detail here. So the advanced beauty professional will show all these core behaviours, professionalism, values, and safe working practice. They'll continually perform in-depth consultations. Now this could change. Well, this is what's out there now, but this could change. The steering group proposed this, but it could change. So as I said, we still have those mandatory core skills, knowledge, behaviours. So we'll have manual therapies in there, so technical therapies. So they'll be looking at aftercare, job ready, what we do now, looking at CPD, and they work collaboratively. So what are the manual therapies? Massage, as we know, of the face, back, neck. Technical therapies, we'll be looking at the electricals, but to combine them too with spa therapies, maybe more holistic, would make a really rounded therapist. We'll look at the holistic qualification now. Again, this isn't even doesn't even have approval yet, but again carries out this dynamic lifestyle. There's a word, this is just inconsistency in what's a dynamic lifestyle profile. This is that consultation. We need to get this terminology right. Looking at holistic therapies, thermal treatments. So what are they? They'll be looking at thermal treatments. Will be your warm body wraps, your spa treatment. So again, like I said, this could change. The steering group are putting together a bespoken group of professionals to drill down deeper into the holistic professional that's being proposed. But as I said, at City and Girls, we recommend, after reviewing, combining both standards would result in a really strong candidate, a more rounded therapist at level 3. So if we go on to the next steps, the steering group will review all feedback from the level 3 consultation. The steering group will continue to develop the level 2 assessment plans before resubmission to the IFA for full approval. Funding bands will be allocated and finalised. And we do aim to keep all of you updated. As soon as we have information available, we want to get that out to you. But I want to let you all know that the steering group have started to meet to discuss moving forward with the approval. And they're in communications, working strongly together to get this right for our industry. And if we recap on the level 2 professional, 3 routes, the proposal's been approved, the standard's been approved, assessment plan's not been approved yet, and the funding band hasn't been assigned. The level 3 advanced professional, it's in development, as we know. There is a proposal approved for the beauty professional, not the holistic. The standard hasn't been approved yet. The assessment plans have not been approved, and obviously a funding band has not been assigned. So let's have a look at our support materials. What do we have here? At City and Guilds, I think we're a bit innovative. We're always looking for ways to engage you and your learners, and I'm sure you'll agree, if you have our enhanced SmartScreen, we certainly do tick all the boxes with our e-learning and SmartScreen material for you. So we have learner logbooks, textbooks, our EPA preparation tool, which I will talk to you in another webinar in another lifetime. Maths and English e-functional skills, free of charge, they're on our website. Our enhanced SmartScreen and learning assistant. We have lots of things to help your learners. So the support resources for the enhanced SmartScreen. We have our a pool of resources for you to use in the classroom. Scheme of works for every unit. We have lesson plans. We have handouts, activity sheets and tasks, worksheets and tasks. All have answer guides to tutors. All very, very interactive. All match with their PowerPoints. The PowerPoints are very interactive, colourful, all singing, all dancing, not just a lot of writing. We have our videos, so that all the units are supported by these instructional videos with interactive questions to test the learner's knowledge throughout. I'm biased. I think our SmartScreen is marvellous. Our enhanced SmartScreen at level 2, there is a cost of £850. That is unlimited assessors, tutors, teachers, and unlimited learners. The same is it's £850 for level 3, and the same it's available for all to use. So there's no restriction on the amount of people that can use the resources. We also have our textbook. So we have our level 2 beauty therapy textbook and our level 3. We have step-by-step photo guides in there with all the technical skills, all the values and core behaviours are signposted within that. Great Andy hips and tints, useful words to help with their vocabulary, practical activities to apply, put them into practice to help them. Again, essential maths and English skills are embedded in real world scenarios that are in there. We've got test your knowledge questions, and it is an eye-catching design and inspirational. We will love it for our textbooks. I'll put this slide in just to let you know that once a learner is registered on the standard, we do have this wonderful resource. It's our EPA preparation tool. You don't really need to know about this if you're just doing beauty at the moment, because you won't be working with this. But City and Guilds put some good things together for you to help your learners, to help your learners get from that point A to that point B, which would be initial assessment right the way through to that endpoint assessment certification. We've come to the end of the webinar. I do hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found it, I've given you the information. If you do have any questions, if you want to, I'll put you all on that one. I can mute it. I want to put. If anybody would like to ask a question. Would anybody like to ask a question? I'm looking in here, there's nothing typed, no test questions typed in, just Lisa. Thank you for letting me know that the slides went on. I really appreciate that. Well, obviously there are no questions, so I would like to say thank you very, very much for listening to me. I will send this webinar out. It'll take me a couple of days to download the webinar and get it formatted. I will send it out to you with a copy of my slides. Thank you. Just have a lovely day, everybody, and hopefully see you or speak to you soon. Bye.